Hello and welcome to this new screencast, where I try to build Twitter using GraphQL, Elixir, Phoenix, and Absinthe. So this is just a backend screencast. Maybe later we'll do a front-end screencast, but for now it's just the backend. Alright, so let's start by creating a new project using Phoenix. Alright, so the command to create a new Phoenix project without HTML or Webpack, so that's just a backend project, it's going to be mix phx.new, then we'll call our project Twitter, no HTML, no Webpack. Hit enter. Install dependencies, yes please. Now that the project is ready, we can open it using VS Code. So now that we have the project open in VS Code, we can install a few packages that we will need throughout this project. So if you open mix.exs, this is where all the dependencies are. And we will have to add, I think, 3 packages. Let's start with Absinthe. So this is the main GraphQL package that we'll need. Copy from here and add here. The other package is Absinthe plug. And we'll go through each one once we start using them. And the last one for now is data loader. Save. Mix deps.get to download all dependencies. If you're on VS Code, then VS Code tries to install them by itself, which is great. Now that we have all our packages installed, let's do a little bit of configuration. So this is the documentation page for Absinthe plug, and we will need to use this in order for us to configure Absinthe plug with Phoenix. Okay, so head into phoenix.router section. Let's add this to our router. So open router.ex. Okay, so let's do a little bit of cleanup here. We want the scope to be /. Let's remove the Twitter do thing. And now let's add here a forward for graphical. And if you know what graphical is, it's the GraphQL UI interface that we use to send our queries, test our mutations, and all those GraphQL tricks. Yeah, we want the interface to be the simple one. Let's change this with Twitter web. And we didn't yet define twitterweb.schema, so you might get an error once we save this. Okay, let's add another one, but for GraphQL instead of graphical. Perfect. Now that we have it saved, everything looks good. Now let's start with defining twitterweb.schema. So let's create a new file here called schema.ex. Now let's create our schema module. So it's a module, which means diff module twitterweb.schema. We'll be using Absinthe schema, and we'll create our first query. It's going to be a hello world query. I know, so typical, but it's the easiest way to get us up and running and to see if our configuration and everything else works fine. So it's a query, of course. Let's add this little description. This is helpful because it shows in the graphical interface. So hello world, and field should be hello, which returns a string. And the resolver is an anonymous function. that takes 3 arguments, but we won't be using any. And the return is okay and the world string. We end the resolver function. Yeah, so it was complaining about the 2 dots. Anyway, let's save, and it's finally time to run our server to see if it's working. So the command to run the server is mix phx.server. It tells us that the endpoint is localhost 4000, and if you remember, if they're in the router.ex, we have 2 endpoints, /GraphQL and /graphical. We'll be using the graphical one. So let's open this. Of course, it's going to give us an error because we didn't define slash. Let's try /graphical. There we go. And let's query for hello world. Perfect. It works. And if you open the docs, go to query. See, this is the desk that I was talking about earlier, description. So if we change that description, if we go to schema, hello world description, save it, reload the server, it changes here. All right. So this is it for the first video. And throughout the other videos, or the upcoming videos, we'll implement authentication, implement the functionalities, mini functionalities of Twitter. We'll try to build a very, very tiny, small Twitter. And if you want to get notified, of course, of the new videos, just subscribe. Super simple, super easy. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you soon.